Welcome back to the Simple Skating Series. Today we are looking at games that aren't quite pro skater, but they are still skateboarding games in their own right. Some are strange, some are weird. You got franchises in here you probably wouldn't expect. And there you go, you got developers in here you probably wouldn't expect. So yeah, this is not Pro Skater 2, and I hope that you enjoy the video. Also, some of the videos are in the old format. Please keep that in mind. Anyway, enjoy!
And go to another dimension. Only joking. This dimension is like being on acid while riding a skateboard. This dimension was created by the same creator as Ren and Stimpy. Can you tell? Well, the dimension of furries on skateboards while simultaneously taking acid, all the while riding said skateboards on film sets. Let that sink in. Wait a second, their actual dimension is a movie set? How does that work? Also, why does this billboard have swinging tits exactly? Big questions. Also, why is the music so great? Also, why does this dimension have a pig in a bikini? No, really, that's a genuine question. But also, why though? Really, why? Why is there a pig in a bikini? I don't really understand it. The dimension plays okay, not the best physics in skateboarding, but it does the job. Characters are wacky and strange, but in a good way, and the levels are fairly big and very varied. But once the comical characters and bright levels become tiresome, you then realise how broken and stiff the skating really is, and how much you didn't need to see a pig in a bikini swirling around on a pole for your amusement. I didn't need nor want that. Now, I'm only joking about the goofy, silly skateboarding. This is Disney's Sports Network. That's right, this is a cluster of dimensions which have various planets, all themed around different sports, and the one we're looking at is themed around skateboarding. You may be wondering what characters is there in said skateboarding planet. Well, there's only a few. There's only a few clones of said known Disney characters can exist there, such as Mickey, Minnie, Donald, I think Goofy's son's there. But the key point to know is that Goofy's there. A nice clone of Goofy is there. And the only one you ever want to watch is Goofy. Why? Because Goofy is Goofy and stumbles around by gosh darning it, and that's all you can ask for. The physics of this world aren't too bad. Actually, you'd probably seen worse. You seem to be able to perform a lot of different tricks, which is cool. The level kinds of reminds me of another dimension featuring a blue hedgehog, which name I seem to have misplaced. What is with these gems everywhere, though? Are they meant to serve some kind of purpose, some kind of currency for this planet? Or are they just there for decoration? Anyway, Goofy is my boy, and I can't get enough of watching him. Just wish he would fall on his ass more.
Hello and welcome, it is me, Blame, and today we're having a look at the Simpsons Skateboarding. Remember this gem? Remember this gem, yeah? So obviously, as you can guess, it's based off the Simpsons series. Oh my word, how could I have known that? The worst thing about this game is its developer. It's developed by a company called the Code Monkeys, which are responsible for the terrible ports of Dingo Pictures films for the PlayStation and PlayStation 2. Yes, they ported films into games by just adding a few slide puzzles, and MS Paint coloring tools. Atrocious. You ever see those like The Lion and the King or Dalmatians 3? Or I'm trying to think, Cartoon Kingdom on the PlayStation 2. Oh dear, The Legend of Mulan? Don't touch those games. They're cursed. The cursed games! Cursed films. So, the game features various iconic Simpsons characters in stages that are quite iconic to those who are fans of the Simpsons series as well. For example, you can play as Krusty the Clown, Chief Wiggum, and Otto the school bus driver, just to name a few. Obviously, you can play as the Simpsons family, with the exception of Maggie as well. And like I said, the stages are based on, Simpsons locations, Springfield location. You got Springfield Gorge, for example. You remember that episode? I think we all remember that episode. And the Itchy and Scratchy Land, which I don't remember what episode that was in, but I watched Simpsons when I was a kid, and that was about it. I haven't watched it for years. So, on these stages, you're required to do certain tasks to progress. Some of them are terrible and a pain to do. Actually, all of them are terrible and a pain to do. There's like some of the missions you have to do is like escort this character to this location. And the only way to get them to go to that location is if you scare them. So you got to skate near them in the opposite direction of where you want them to go, so they run away from you. And in a skateboarding game which has really bad controls, that's not exactly a fun thing to do. No, that brings me to my next point. The controls, they are completely trash. Don't get me wrong, the game's playable. Oh, it's playable all right. It's just the controls are extremely clunky. You don't feel like you gain any momentum while you're skating, which ruins it for me. And turning is terrible. You want to stop, that's terrible. You quite often go to try and stop, and you accidentally just hit like maybe the right or the left button, and he turns around, twizzles around. Yeah. So, all in all, the game is trash. It's not redeemable. I have nostalgia for the game. You don't get me wrong. I think a lot of us have nostalgia for the game. But that won't stop me from chastising the game. Don't play it if you can help it. But I will tell you right now, it's not the worst skateboarding game out there for the PlayStation 2. It's not. The madness continues! Hello, it is me, Blame, once again. And today we're looking at Evolution Skateboarding. Ever heard of this game? You probably haven't, in all fairness. It's it's interesting. So, this game, right, jumped on the bandwagon of the Tony Hawk series at the time. Because when this game came out, the Tony Hawk series was really popular. Excuse me. Oh, fucking hell. It was really popular at the time. And the developer of this game decided to jump on the bandwagon with this particular game. They also did a snowboarding game, which was also called Evolution Snowboarding, which I would imagine would be jumping on the bandwagon of SSX. And who do you think developed this gem? Who do you think? Konami. Konami! That's right. No wonder Mother Base is a playable stage in this, with Solid Snake and Raiden as unlockable characters. Not that I have them unlocked. So, what is there to say about this game? Not much really. The soundtrack is trying to be similar to Tony Hawk's, but most of the tracks I don't really recognize. The controls are trying to be similar to Tony Hawk's. They're not exactly there. The controls aren't too bad, but they're not exactly there. They're not as, I guess refined is the word I would like to use. Hell, they even have their own low-budget character creator as well. And I mean low budget, nothing like anything that you've seen in previous Tony Hawk's games. Even like Pro Skater 3 and 4 is still, I would say, better than this. So, yeah, so what did I do in this game? I played the hell out of Mother Base. That was the only real stage well, there was other stages I could go on, I guess, but I wanted to play as my created character. Which I like to call the Frogman. Plays pretty well, and the turning and grinding feels a bit clunky at times. So I say the controls are like Tony Hawk's, but they just don't have the same kind of refinement as they have Tony Hawk's. But at the same time, the controls aren't bad. They're not terrible. They ain't Simpsons Skateboarding. You know what I mean? So now I also read that this game had boss fights, and one of them is with a giant spider, which is nightmare fuel, which is great. Of course, I didn't get to fight the giant spider. I only played the Mother Base level, but I think I'm glad I didn't. So realistically, all I got to say about this game, it didn't really have much of an influence on me. It just, to me, it felt like it was trying to be like Tony Hawk's. That's what it felt like. That's what it felt like to me. Nice try, Konami, but to be honest, you just jumped on the bandwagon. But like I said, it's not too bad if you want to try something different to Pro Skater, but not too different. See ya. Xtreme Edition. Okay, Phoenix Games. How about you explain to me how exactly this is Xtreme? Like, this is the worst skateboarding game I've ever played. No, seriously. Worse than Simpsons Skateboarding. This is the worst skateboarding game on PlayStation 2, and I personally think this is the worst skateboarding game of all time. This game is a budget mess of trash that shouldn't exist on the PlayStation 2. The controls are extremely clunky, the graphics look extremely dated, and even look like a Sega Saturn game. A Sega Saturn game, not a PlayStation 1 game. Remember, Sega Saturn is before PlayStation 1. This game has the same graphic quality as Virtua Fighter. Okay, the single level I played was extremely bland. It is literally a hot mess. One interesting fact, do you know this game was going to get a sequel, but thank God it was cancelled. It was called Trans World Skateboarding. Can you believe this game was going to get a sequel? Obviously this is Phoenix Games. This is Phoenix Games affair. This is just absolute trash, but you would think they would at least have some kind of effort. This is like the most low effort trash I have ever seen. I just can't even believe this game exists. Just look at it. Just look at it. At the end of this video, I'm going to put 30 seconds of raw footage just so you can see. Just so you can see. Just slam this game into the bin and set the bin on fire. So that was not Pro Skater 2. Had a bunch of random games. The best game was at the end, wasn't it? That was the best game, the one at the end. So normally I'd go like, what is my favorite game of these, this collection of 5 games? I don't really have one, if I be completely honest. Probably Evolution Skateboarding. It's the most normal out of all of them. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.